that we're talking to Mr. Joseph Turro in his home in Derby, Connecticut. And his birth date is September 1st, 1922. Yes. And you were born here in Derby.
Right.
Yes. And this is Sally Kemmler attending the interview and operating the equipment. And I am working with the Veterans History Project at Central Connecticut State University. And Mr. Turro was in the Army, I believe, is that right?
Oh, yeah. I was drafted.
Yeah, drafted into the Army in and served during World War II. And obtained the rank of corporal in the Army.
Yeah.
Okay. May I ask you, Mr. Turro, where were you living at the time that you went into the Army?
Oh, home. Oh,
Living
I
at
wasn't
home
married.
Sorry?
I wasn't married at the time. I was just home with my mother
Okay.
in Summer Street.
On Summer Street. And how old were you when you were drafted?
Yeah, I was giving that some thought. I think about 18.
Okay.
You know, it's in that range anyway.
Yeah, really young.
So I was drafted. I didn't volunteer.
Right, so you were drafted into the Army.
Yeah, right.
What kind of work were you doing at the time that you were drafted?
I was an apprentice electrician.
Ah.
Right. My brother-in-law was the electrical contractor. That's my sister's husband. And when I was going to high school, I started doing the miniature things for them, and I involved in I became an electrician, and then I opened my own business. When he resigned and quit, I took over the business. And you've got to. I don't want to waste your time or mine, but the valley was an industrial community. Everything about it. Now you can't find one shop. One shop, you go along the river, all we had was shops, row, from clothing to everything. And we had a shop right down here by the hospital. They used to women's clothes, you know. And then we had men's clothes, and then they had all kinds of equipment made. We had, most people got out of high school, they got into a job as an apprentice, and they retired there. And in 25 or 30 years, they were goodbye, and they were all retired and everything, but they didn't even move. American Brass, and there's nobody. I took a look ride today, to hardly any industry. Right. It's a sad affair, I'll tell you.
It is, but so you already had started on your career when you were
yes. Okay. I graduated from high school at the time.
Okay.
See, and then I was doing part-time work for them. And the first corner house my other sister owned lived there, and he was a roofer. And during school days, when they did a job, I'd go to the perimeter of the job and keep it neat and tidy after school. So I was always in a position to learn something, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you were in a tight-knit community.
Yeah, right.
That's cool. Do you recall your first days in the Army?
A little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it felt like? Was it your first time away from home?
Gee, it was for any length of time. I didn't know. We never took vacations. We never had them.
Yeah.
You know, high school, and then everything was fine. We had a wonderful life, I'll tell you. It was a wonderful life, but nothing. I didn't do anything. I didn't even become a Boy Scout. And a lot of the times became Boy Scout, Cub Scout. And I'll never forget the first time that we went to the Yale Bowl for a football game. That's when Yale was really predominant, you know, in the community. And they lined up all the Cub Scouts and everything, and they brought us down into the game and into the stadium, and we all witnessed a football game.
Huh?
The Boy Scouts. It was the Cub Scouts first, and then the Boy Scouts for a short period of time.
All right. Do you remember what boot camp was like?
Oh yeah, fun. Well, the memories I've got of her are all good.
Oh, really? Yeah?
Oh yeah, never had a problem.
That's good.
No.
Yeah.
As long as you participated. There's always people trying to goof off, we used to call them. You know, they want to goof off or do something else and have some kind of an alibi.
Right.
You know, but we were eager beavers is what we were referred to back then. You know.
So physically, it wasn't too much for you.
Oh no, no.
Yeah. So it was a positive experience for you.
Oh yes, very. Yeah.
Okay. Where did you go first when you were in the Army with your unit?
I'm trying to think. It was down in Texas, I think.
Okay.
I think it was some. I don't like to buy it, but see what happens in the military. You can only move up. You can't go back down. Is what I'm trying to say. And when we started off in the military, if you wanted to become a flyer, you had an opportunity. But if you couldn't just go there and say, geez, I don't like this, I want to go do something lower than that, they won't do it for you. They wouldn't do it. So, and if it wasn't for the time when I was supposed to be a pilot, I was getting ready to go over to Europe. And we get a thing in the mail on the bulletin. The loss in Europe has changed dramatically, and it's quite low of the pilot thing. So we're having to cancel out the whole flight.
Wow.
There's about 150 of us there, and it said you've got to go back to where you came from, and that was anti-aircraft is where I was in. And they returned me. But what they did do, from La Grande, Oregon, they sent us to the South San Luis Obispo in California. Oh, that was like paradise.
Wow.
You know, the weather was fantastic. Everything about it was. And that's where we ended up until we got short, and they sent us over to Iwo Jima.
Wow. So you went in as a private. You got pilot training.
Oh yeah, but you have to take a test. The only thing you can do in the military, you can only increase in stages.
Right.
You can't go back down, you know, without a doctor saying so. But when we were there, it was our turn to have, after the pilots, they kicked us off the pilot program, they put us on they sent us back to anti-aircraft, and they said, well, you're going with the Marines this time. We said, where the hell is Iwo Jima? You know, who knew?
Well, did you enjoy the pilot training? Was that fun?
Oh, yes. It was pretty good. I said, if I had about another 10 hours in the air, I could have flew my own plane.
Yeah.
And that was my next step. But see, then it was just washed out, and then you just couldn't do it.
That's a shame. So you were in Oregon while you were doing that training.
What's that?
Did you say you were in Oregon?
Yes, that's where they sent us to They sent us to it's a small college for basic training, basic knowledge, you know, pilot flying and how to do it. And then that's where we were instructed. And my turn, you're with a pilot, you're with a fellow in your front of you, was your teacher, and he would tell you what to do when you're flying this. And then I got to the point where it was my turn that week to be a solo pilot. Mm-hmm. I was going to go by myself. And boy, I was anxious to go by myself because I felt so content and with my knowledge that I said, "Oh, I'm gonna have a ball here up there by myself." But anyway, that's when they washed the flights out. We didn't get the chance. We couldn't go back into that flying. We were not losing pilots. We were losing soldiers, you know, infantry, like that kind of stuff. And that's where we were attached to the Marines.
So you went to San Luis Obispo, and then you got more orders to go to Iwo Jima.
Oh yes, then we got the same group that I left to go to the flight thing. We were put back into the same, the original military part, and that's when they started telling us about Iwo Jima. What the hell is this Marine Iwo Jima? But then that's when they told us, and they said, well, we're going to provide the anti-aircraft. The Marines are going to do all the fighting. And this is funny. I'm only telling you this because this brings back memories. We're sitting on the deck of the ship when we see this island is so small. Jesus, what the hell they got here, you know? And it looked black. Everything is the sand. When you looked out there, all you could see was black. And then all of a sudden, the guy came through with the thing, and they said, You're going to go in about the third day. The Marines, our own Marines, are going to go and take over the shore where we could land, because if we went in there, we had no way of protecting ourselves. Plus the fact that you discovered that sand was a hazard and a health hazard. You couldn't walk in the damn stuff, you know, but it was on the island, but to the Japanese, it was a piece of cake. You know, they were already in there. So then when the Marines, after about the third day, the Marines go, they had put the things up, all the flags along the beach. It's American now. So that's when we went in. And we were anti-aircraft. And we got in and we set up around the airfields. We set armor equipment up. And when the Japanese came over from Tokyo, that they were close to Tokyo, they could fly all over. And that's when we would boom, 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 boom. Whether we hit them or not, we don't know. No, because all we could see was these things, the things going, sin, sin, sin. Yeah, that brings back good memories. And I had a group of terrific comrades.
Yeah.
You know, that was good.
Were they all about your same age?
Huh?
These friends?
Oh, yeah. Some of them were more militarized. By that I mean they were in the Army before.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they weren't drafted. Some of them were permanent military their whole life. And I don't like to waste your time, but I had a cousin right home up on Summit Street. My mother had 3 girls. And unfortunately, when they moved into that place, he was trimming a tree. Their name was Priscilla. My 3 sisters were Evelyn, Elvira, and Teresa, Priscilla. And they lived with us, the 3 girls. And we were 2 brothers, my Dan and myself. We all lived in the same home. And what had happened, he was out cutting the tree. Now that's even just before I was born, but my brother was born. And they were cutting the tree and the damn thing killed them. So then we had the 5 of all of us, with minus a dad, were in the house up there on Summit Street for the longest time. And then finally my mother got married again, see. And Tasha just didn't shrug, she just shrugged it off. But she married a fellow that was typical Italian. Oh, he loved a garden. We had, you know what I mean? Tomato plants, that was, while every other kid, when we were in high school, I'm talking about, was going swimming or something. My brother and I had to come home and get the spade and shovel for the garden. And we could never explain to the other guys, the ones who always had their leisure time, we're going to go swimming today. Oh, I can't make it today. Why can't you make it? We got to dig the garden. Because the lot was a pretty good size. It's still, finally, the estate was all sold out. When we got married, everybody got married. But you got to go by there. I go to the neighbor of mine that lives about the 2 houses from where I live, and he's still there. And I go to visit him, and I just brings back memories. You know, the homestead is in beautiful shape. And then my sister, the one that was the electrician's wife, their home was sold, and it's a neat community up there.
I'll bet. It must have been hard for your mother.
Oh, brutal. Hey, boy, no, she didn't go my mother didn't go to work.
Oh,
no, but she cooked for 5 people.
Oh, absolutely. No,
and daily, she had no transportation.
Yeah.
We have the mountain, the hill is like that.
Yeah.
This is like a pimple, this road, but over there. And she had to walk down about 3 blocks down the hill in order to get to the grocery store.
Right.
You know, there was no foot. And I remember the first time they put the First National came in. That was the first chain store. They moved into a place, you know. But she every day or every 2 days, she had, I got to go down to the store. So,
What happened when she found out you were going into the Army?
Oh, she was a little bit upset. Not upset. The women, I think, are mother is a mother of instinct. No, she was we had we weren't taught that there was going to think that way. You know, I mean, you always thought you were going to come back. And we did. 99% of the people that went in came back, you know, and a large group.
That's a good thing.
And
so
then
she managed okay.
Let me tell you the rest of the story.
Oh, yeah.
So on the middle of Derby Main Street, when you come up there was a Club Soda, and that was our hangout. And all the guys were, when I did the 10 years, I just celebrated my 10th year anniversary of something. We had a picture.
I'm sure you've had a lot of anniversaries. So I'm sure you've had a lot of anniversaries.
yeah. So that when we're going to, so anyway, I went in there, and who do you think I meet? This young lass, and she became my wife. Oh yeah, see well, you can see her pictures are around here somewhere. Yeah, the pictures are in there. I said, oh boy. But we got married, and we were very successful. She became mother of 5, number, and not only that, she did the business work. She answered the phone, she did the billing, she made the pays for the thing, and I'll tell you, a human being, we always laughed at her, you know, because she had this whole section, like a little office. You know, when we were going. We became very successful too. I raised 5 kids, sent them all to school. You know?
Okay, well, let's get back to the
military.
The military, yeah. What was your job in the anti-aircraft unit? What
well, we call it gunner. It was.
Okay.
I used to have to load the things, the bullets. They're about that big and this big, into the chamber of the thing. And then I'd walk away, and they would aim it and pull the trigger. And then I had to eject it. You know, that was part of my chore. Yeah.
Sounds like hard work.
Well, at the time, we had our youth with us.
Yeah, I guess.
It seemed like a pleasure.
Yeah.
You know.
So you were in combat on a lot.
That was the biggest thing, was Iwo Jima.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long were you there on Iwo Jima?
I was there when it started, and that's when my mother got cancer.
Oh.
And at the time, cancer, the death threat, almost immediate. You know, they couldn't postpone it. They didn't know anything about it. And I think I just lived. We just ended the war, just ended over there. We just turned the Japanese surrendered, and I came back home.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you were in the service, how did you stay in touch with your family?
Oh, little mail.
The little
We have mail. They call it something. It was
email. Was it
email? Yeah. Oh, the thing. Now my cousin. I'm drifting. So you got me at a good time.
That's okay.
My cousins, they were Landolphis. It was Paul and Louis Landolphi. Mm-hmm. My mother was a Landolphi. Mm-hmm. And when the time came for the draft, the Lewis, he wanted to get in the worst way, but he was a year young. So what does he do? He takes his brother's name. Yeah, he took his brother's name and went in as, he'd be no longer Louis Landolphi, he was Paul Landolphi. And then when I hadn't heard much from him, and then when we're down at Iwo Jima, he was in the Navy. He was in about always 3 or 4 years already, you know, and the thing, and in the Navy. And when there was about 6 small islands like this, and this young lad used to drive around in a small boat and bring the mail. You know, once we got organized and took over the islands, we were living home, just like being home. And he was delivering. So one night I came in contact with him one day. He said, hey, do you have the Wasp was the name of my cousin's ship. Mm-hmm. And it was anti-aircraft, and it was a big, huge thing. And he said, yeah, I bring mail there. So well, see if there's a Paul Landolfi on it. Because he used to send me a note every once in a while, you know? And I'll be a son of a gun, a version of Paul Landolfi on it. He said, and one night I said, well, gee, well, how about giving me a ride out? I got very friendly with the guy that was delivering the mail. He said, well, you'll have to be patient. He says, then all of a sudden he comes to me one day and says, hey, listen, I got some free time. And he had the boat. He says, come on, I'll bring you out to your cousin's ship. And I go out there and I meet him. And gee, I'll tell you, it was a serious and entertaining 10 minutes. And he said, for that, I'm going to let you sleep. Now, we had no way of sleeping water, no shower, no nothing. And he said, I'm going to let you stay over here tonight. He was an officer. And he said, I'm going to let you take the shower stall and the bed and the thing, that whole room, as if it was hidden, you know.
Wow, I was lucky.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you, that was the first time we had hot water, you know, in the shower after being out there for about 3-4 months, you know. But meeting him was just a fantastic thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because he was almost like a brother. He lived almost next door to us, you know.
Wow, that's something.
The son of a gun.
Wow.
And unfortunately, Paul Landolfi just passed away not too long ago. That was his brother, my cousin. You know, it's just,
That's something.
Yeah.
So once you got on that island, things were pretty rough. The conditions were pretty rough.
Yeah, right, good, but we had no enemy anymore.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was not difficult. There was much. Most of the action was complete, and there was a few of the Japanese still, you know, thinking the other way around. They were we had to worry about them most of the time. But outside of that, then they came and they made the movies. Every other night they had a movie on for us, you know.
Oh, really? What kind of movies did they have?
Well, what was on at the time. It was a conventional movie. It was a screen they had and the thing, and they shot it up there, and we used to go see the movies. But everything wasn't like today's movies, you know, the old-fashioned type of movie in 1945, 5 or 46.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
what was the food like for you?
Oh, the food?
Yeah.
Everything was fine.
Really?
No, we were treated royally, I'll tell you.
Really?
Oh, yeah, no. Because the war was over for us.
Yeah.
Now, we had defeated the Japanese over there on Iwo Jima, and they were just prisoners. We had like a prison place for them, and we were no more active. We were never active any longer. We'd go into Japan. Now, see, when my mother got the sickness,
yes.
they do what they're going to do for something like that. They sent me home, you know, and in the following 2 or 3 weeks, we were going into Japan, which we expected. They figured there was going to be at least a couple of thousand of Americans killed getting on the shore, you know, the beach, to get in there. And so it was like a miracle in one way.
In one way, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just like a miracle back then.
Yeah. So you didn't feel too much stress once the combat was over? It was pretty...
Oh, no. When the combat was over, all I was anxious to get out.
Right.
You know, we want to go home.
Yeah.
See, when the war ended, it didn't take long. We just...
So the combat was relatively brief time for you when you were the anti-aircraft guns?
Yeah, everything. Before the anti-aircraft, you had to be preliminary in the military, the regular army type of ability. You had to carry your gun on your shoulder, you know, and do all that. And then when you got to the anti-aircraft, you had to set that aside. You had to work the big guns. You know, carry the bullets. Christ, they were that big and about that big around.
Wow.
Some of them, you know. Yeah.
Okay. Was there something special you and your buddies did for good luck, or did you?
No.
Not really?
No.
Okay. So how did you entertain yourselves besides the movies?
There wasn't anything else you did.
That was it?
No. Because there wasn't much on Iwo Jima, to tell you. Very, very sandy soil. And a few greenery, a little bit of greenery. But the Japanese they're just nasty. They died for their country. They would die. You know what I mean? Every once in a while they would say, geez, they 6 or 7 of them came after them. And then again, it gets 50, you know, and before you know it, they're all just bang, 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 bang. Terrible. No.
Dear. Well, let's see. So, did you travel while you were in the service, or you were involved with your unit the whole time?
No, yeah, right. We didn't travel too much,
Yeah.
unless they moved from base to base. You know, you're going from one thing to another, like going to Oregon. That was a paid trip.
Yes. What did you get to go on leave at all, or you didn't really have leave?
No, not too much.
Okay. Do you remember anything that was particularly funny or unusual during your time in the service?
Well, it was the attitude of some of our own. They were
All the time.
always trying to weasel out of something, you know,
Oh, really?
how to go about it. Some of them made it a habit, and then after a while you got this, hey, let's get this thing over with. You want to go in and fight them? Let's go, you know. That's what you were getting not brainwashed, but that's the feeling you were getting.
Yeah.
See, but there was them, all they want to do is wave goodbye.
Right. Like,
Oh, yeah.
how could I get off base or whatever? Something like that. How could they get off base or, you know?
Oh, yeah, well, that was
Do you remember the day your service ended?
well, that's interesting. When the mother, then I became a loner because they were trying to get me out of the place there. I was doing nothing anyway.
Yeah.
But they're trying to get me from, we were about 20 miles from Tokyo and the island we had. And to get you from there over to America was the challenge, the planes. And that's when I got that thing in the mail, and they had to do, I don't know, numerous things they had to do. I had to bring papers to everybody. And finally, when they said, well, it's come on a certain day, we've got a plane coming from Japan, going over to America, and you'll be on it. And that's where they did it.
Ah.
So,
Was it a cargo plane or a troop plane?
oh no, I think it was more a passenger plane. It was, it was a military piece of equipment.
Yeah.
But I think it was just transportation it was used for.
Cool.
You know.
All right. Did you have plenty of supplies when you were, doing your aircraft service?
What's that?
Did you have plenty of supplies? Did you?
Oh yeah, no, we never lacked for anything.
Really?
We never lacked even for food. I mean, we were treated royally because we were an exceptional group. They were dependent on us. The Navy itself was all in the perimeter, but they didn't have the facilities, the ground, the kind of equipment we had to do what we were doing, to kill the Japanese.
Right.
So
the Army and the Navy, they were supporting the Marines while they were going into the island.
Yeah.
Which was a particularly tough place.
Oh, yes, because, Jesus, it didn't seem so tough after about the 6 weeks, because they had a night movie on it. We ones in the Army who were anti-aircraft, our flag. We used to go to the movies sometimes. Oh, it was son of a gun.
Yeah. So what did you do in the days and the weeks after you left the service?
Oh, I went back to my job. As an electrician. I finished off, continued my education in electrical contracting, you see. And I stayed with that. And then when my brother-in-law sold the business, the contracting business, and I worked for that fellow for a while. Then that guy got out of it, and I bought it. I bought the business. But there was 2 of us almost made a partnership because 2 of us were doing most of the work anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you sort of had your path already laid out.
Oh yeah, right.
Lucky, yeah.
But,
so you didn't need the GI Bill or anything because you had already started your education.
Yeah, right. Some of them I went to Bridgeport. I didn't even go to trade school. I learned it from the teacher would, my heads of the company that where I was working for were training. We were in a training process all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
And after about 6 months, you got very, very fluent and good at it.
Yeah.
You know, and I just continued that thing, and everything went along smooth.
That's cool.
Very successful too. I'm proud. I am very proud of my business. I've raised this whole house. I did it all by myself.
Yeah. Did you make any close friendships while you were in the service?
Well, a few of them, and then after you just fade away.
Yeah.
You just, you know. But then when I met my wife down at the thing, after about 3 or 4 visits, I said, we have to have a date. And it worked out well. I mean, it just worked out perfect.
That's great.
We were married for a long time.
Yeah. Did your Army experience influence your thinking about war or about the military?
Oh, no. Because knowledge or literature was not available like it is today.
Right.
And we had no television, you know. I mean, today you just pick on anything. And they've got to do it in a million things in the different places with the television.
That's true.
But back then, there was nothing.
Yeah.
No. We're lucky we had a job.
Oh, yeah. So you did make some good friends, and you had those friends for a while, but then they sort of had their own lives.
Yeah, drift. Yeah.
Did you join the VA, any veterans organizations or anything?
Well, I only went there when I retired from everything. I went down.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know, the hospital in West Haven.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's I've been using that. But the first thing they tell you what to do there. Everybody was very pleasant of it. But make sure you keep yourself an outdoor or doctor available to you, because we're not available sometime, you know, or for a second opinion. See, and that's what I did. And I go to Dr. Farron's in Seymour like every 6 months for a checkup. But I was going every 6 weeks down to the veterans for a while.
Oh, well, that's a good thing.
And on top of it, but most of them were foreign. The doctors and the veterans thing are all Chinese or Indian or something. Most of them.
Okay. So, would you say that your Army service affected the life you had after the service, or was it just sort of part of
no, I don't think. Well, I don't think much about the military, but some of the things we did, I admire. When you think about what we accomplished, you know, you take pride in it. See, you know what I mean? You do. You just take pride in it. See? Especially on Memorial Day when you see some of them out there marching, and you're over there applauding them and doing everything else, because you remember, you know, the stuff is pretty good.
Right. So you might not have the best attitude toward this person or that person in the Army, but what you accomplished together, you're very proud of, which you should be.
Yeah, because don't forget, we all had our time to wash all the dishes.
Yeah.
You know, for 50, 60 people, yeah, wash it. Hey, if you be KP, they call it kitchen police. We were called kitchen police, and we had to go and when they got through, we had to clean up, wash all the dishes, pots and pans, and straighten out the dining room, and that was it.
Yeah.
But we expected somebody had to do it, and we all had turns. Is what I'm getting at.
So that's something you hadn't had to do before.
Oh no! Now when I was home.
No.
No. Yeah. And sometimes you wish you'd learn how to cook a little bit. You know, for some of the things that happen. What the hell is this? Oh.
Yeah.
Ballroom dancing. They used to have a time when we were back in the United States and the war was already over. But the KP, the facilities were, you know, they had the movie house, they had this and that, and they had the dancing and everything else.
Oh, so they had like an Army.
Yeah, it was like a restaurant thing. You know, dance. sure.
So you're a ballroom dancer?
Huh?
You're a ballroom dancer?
Well, you had an opportunity to learn how to do ballroom dancing, and everything was available to you.
Oh.
They treated the military, the individuals in the military were treated royally, I'll tell you. You know?
So no bad shortages, the food was good, they
Oh,
gave
no.
you
No, you couldn't,
different activities?
From the time we were talking about depression, Americans, it wasn't too good home. And when you got in there, there were certain items you hadn't seen in quite some time, and they were just all over the place, you know, the food articles, you know.
Like luxury items, like...
And I don't think when we were home we ever had orange juice. You know, so for everything from the South, how were they going to get it up here? They had no transportation or anything. But when you're in the military, it's already on the table.
Yeah.
See? The special drinks and this and that. And,
well, did you gain weight while you were in service?
no, I'm about the same.
About the same.
I didn't think I gained it.
Some people gain, some people lose.
Yeah. I didn't give it any thought at the time, you know. As long as the belt filled the belt fit on there, you know.
So you went into the service, you became a pilot, almost.
Yeah.
You learned to dance. This is all good.
Oh, yeah. No. Sure, because look what happened to airplanes. The appearance of them, the size and what they accomplish. They go from one side of the country to the other, all over around the world, you know, at the time.
Well, did they organize dances for you after you learned to dance?
Oh, yeah. They used to, once a week, they were like on a Friday night or Saturday, they're going to have a ballroom dancing and things. But us who are kind of wise and snippy at the time, what do we need to know about dancing, you know? we want to dance. Then after a while, you get hooked.
Yeah.
And you enjoy yourself dramatically, you know. Or even in the downtown, there's in the little tavern there, was sometimes the music would come out, the orchestras, you know, the tape or the records they used to have all the time. And before you know it, there's couples out there dancing away, and very, very nice.
Yeah.
My wife and I used to enjoy it. Yeah, we enjoyed that. We used to go down to the Elks Club once a month, you know.
Where?
The Elks Club.
Oh, the Elks, yeah.
Yeah, here, and once a month there, and they'd have a dinner dance and everything.
Well, that's cool.
We enjoyed
That's
it.
one thing you kept from the Army is your ability to dance.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, the kind of dance that we did, everything was changed dramatically at dancing. First you thought it was ballroom dancing, and then you're behind them, and you don't even know who the partner is. And they probably laugh like hell. And up until recently, there was 3 of us still left in the whole gang. And one was Murphy Orcus, and the other was Stanley Lemansky, and another one. And we used to go different places, just as men alone. And all of a sudden, I get a thing for the Stanley Lemansky's wife. The other day, Stanley died. Well, he was a year older than I am. And he said, Stanley passed away, and I said, I was sad and wished her all over things. And then now another one from my Walter Orcus. Is next. I used to hear from him about once every 3 or 4 weeks we have a chat. And lately, it's nothing. The phone isn't ringing. I called her a couple of times. He's at a different rest home now in West Haven, not West Haven, New Hamden. He's at, and I don't know how he's doing. I try to get a hold of his daughter. I'm friendly with the family, and I asked how he's doing, and she says, he's pretty good. But for a fellow that used to be quite a talker. You know what I mean? Nothing. I don't want to disturb him, but I don't know what the story is now.
So these were not Army buddies, but these were just...
Oh, no, they were friendly. They were all in the service. We were all in the same group.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Derby. They were not. I mean, we were all military. Like he was in something, and Stanley was Stanley was always a truck driver all his life, and he was doing something with the Army and the trucks.
Oh.
And Walter did something else. He was a salesperson most of his life. And he tried to sell you anything.
I'm sure he would.